and then the world gets to you and like puberty hits, and then you go to high school and you go to university and you start working, and feeling like I need to suppress myself and make myself smaller. And then now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, wait, this is how I've always been, and now I can just be like this and it's fine. Welcome to Happy to See Me, the podcast that puts the spotlight on the overlooked and underestimated. I'm Erika Casupanan, the first Canadian to win Survivor. But before that, I was a Filipino immigrant and corporate perfectionist who felt doubted and overlooked. Now I'm here to prove that every journey, whether messy, beautiful, or unexpected, is worth celebrating. Every Monday, I bring you candid conversations and relatable pep talks with guests who've defied expectations. If you're ready to feel seen, celebrated, and empowered, you're in the right place. And here, I'm always happy to see you. This is a special episode.
Yeah.
This is episode 100.
Dun, 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 dun.
And it comes out the day after my birthday.
Oh my God, happy birthday.
Thank you. Well,
almost.
That'll be me in the future. But for the people listening, you're late, actually. Now it's a belated birthday.
You missed it.
I know. I'll still accept your birthday wishes, but you need to make them extra special at this point.
Yes. Send flowers.
Oh, I love flowers.
You do? Me too.
Marianna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Sure. My name's Marianna. I co-run the Sonar Podcast Network, the network that Erika's show is on. And I manage podcast production in all kinds of places. I'm just like a lady that works in podcasts.
We love that.
Is that good?
Yes. For anyone who watches the YouTube version, all of this that's happening, Marianna often is the one who makes this happen.
Yes, it's like lovely to have a studio space, but it's also hard when your brain is the kind of brain that is like, no, just one more thing has to adjust. You know what I mean? Those like I have this brain that I'm just like every little detail, I'm like, no, it's not good enough. Like, it's just not good enough. Everything has to be like perfect. So setting up the cameras and the lighting, as we know from today and every other time I ever record anything, is painstaking.
No, but I appreciate it because I can go both ways. Sometimes I can be the one who's like, let me just tweak it a little bit. And other times I'm like, it's fine. Yeah. And then I'll look at something after. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have said it was just fine. Maybe I should have just taken that extra little bit. So I appreciate that you're someone that's always willing to be like, let's just make it perfect.
Yeah. To my own detriment, I would say.
I mean, we're here now. The Sonar Network exists and shows are on it.
That is true. That's true. It is going pretty well. I do have to stop myself from like overthinking everything though. Mm-hmm. And it's a skill you have to learn for sure.
Have you done anything to calm the overthinking?
I mean, I do try to like practice. I do try to practice just being like, okay, it's fine. Like my eyes twitching even just thinking about it. But like just practicing being like, it's okay, let it go, like out into the world. But it takes practice. Mm-hmm. That I guess I have done that, just practice. But also something that does actually help me is thinking about how, and this is helpful for any stressful moment really, is thinking about how we are just little parasites on a floating space rock and nothing really actually matters this much other than just like living your life because you're only here for like one blip of a moment. And that, even though it's like so huge and deep or whatever, is actually really helpful in tiny moments where I'm just like, okay, my brain is like about to explode over this tiny little detail. Maybe like in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter as much as I think it does. Mm-hmm. That actually does help.
I've never thought of myself as a parasite. Is that a comforting thought for you?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, honestly, kind of. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Because I'm just like, we're just like little bugs. Like when you look at a mound of ants, like, yeah, they're all just like going about their lives. I don't know. It is, I kind of picture us like just like a little like bugs all over this like rock.
Yeah. And we're just like whipping around. And do you think any of the ants that you see on the sidewalk going into their mound, do you think that they're overthinking anything?
No.
Or do you think they're just like, go get food, bring it
Yeah.
back, get
No,
food, bring it
they-
back,
ants-
multiply.
Ants work like computers or something, aren't they? Just like very like, just do the thing. They don't think about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's comforting. But okay, parasite is kind of like an intense word. There has to be a better word. But bugs, I guess, is more accurate.
Also, if you like parasites, if you have affection towards parasite and the term parasite, I'm for it.
I don't think I do.
Okay.
I think it's just the first word that comes to mind. Also because humans are like sucking all the life out of this planet, that kind of whole thing. So I think that's why I lean towards parasite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Every now and then I'm like, what is it all for?
Exactly.
I also used to overthink a lot. I still think a lot, but especially when I worked in PR, big perfectionist. And often because it felt like everything was so high stakes in PR. What we said had to make sure that we were fixing the reputation or at least making sure the company doesn't get sued.
Yeah.
And then I think after 5 years of working in PR, I just created this rule for myself. I'm like, no email should take more than 5 minutes to write.
Yeah.
Like no one's going to read the paragraphs and paragraphs of the meticulously crafted email. I just have to like quickly write the email and send it off. And I feel like that eased a lot of anxiety for me.
Yeah. It's that. And also we love to say at Sonar, as much as, because we get stressed, you know, like we have so many different shows on the go at all times and like stuff happens. It can get very like stressful, especially when it's like your whole job. But I like to say, and we say this at Lead where I work as well, there are no podcasting emergencies. Like we're making podcasts. And I do also love to remind myself that like this is not a life-threatening situation, because I think it's like your body, just I have anxiety. So my body doesn't understand the difference between like something truly life-threatening and something just minor inconvenience level. Like sometimes those things like in my nervous system just get mixed up. So I'm just like freaking out, over analyzing, like overreacting to something. And I have to remind myself, like, I'm not saving lives. Like if someone's podcast comes out a day late, okay, it's okay. Like fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we used to say it all the time in PR that it was PR, not the ER.
Yeah.
Even though I always felt like everything was life-threatening
Exactly.
in PR. But I'm like, it's fine. It's honestly fine. We're going to move on.
I think you have to keep repeating that to yourself. Otherwise you get so bogged down in the just obsessing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is a special episode because I'm at 100, which I never, I don't know if I never expected to get there, but it was surreal looking at the list of episodes. I'm like, wow, I'm at the triple digits.
Yeah.
So thank you for all of your help in getting me here.
Yeah.
And in this episode, you're going to ask me questions.
Yes. I'm very excited.
So we have a mix of questions from you and then a few questions from listeners.
Yeah. I mean, I also wanted to I didn't want to over question things. I wanted things to be a little more free flowing too. But also I thought it would just be nice to get to know each other and that the listeners could get to know you through me.
Yeah, let's do it. Because you know me IRL.
I know you IRL, but it's not like we're like super close and hanging out all the time. So like I don't actually know you too deeply.
Yeah.
I just know you from like seeing you around and working on the podcast and like in a professional setting sort of. So this is fun. I'm going to, maybe by the end of this we will be friends.
Oh my God, I didn't realize we weren't.
I mean,
I thought we were like work friends.
Yeah.
We were like
I
work
think
friend
so.
territory. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, are you
Yeah, let's do
excited?
it.
So I guess let's start off by talking about the fact that this is episode 100.
Yes.
That's huge. And I was curious if you felt like getting to here to 100 that you've learned something new about yourself as you've been going through it.
Yeah, you know what? As I was looking forward to this episode, I actually pulled up the YouTube channel and I was clicking through some of the old videos and I was seeing videos from, I want to say like the first 30 episodes that I did. I was back in my old place and I was recording the podcast in my living room area. And at that time, I had this desk that was pushed against the wall that we kind of used as a bar. And then I would work there during COVID. It was like a weird setup. And then when I would podcast, I would basically pull the desk into the middle of the room, rearrange all of the furniture, get all of these blankets, and then drape them over any furniture. And I would just totally turn my home upside down for me to record an episode. And then I'd have to put it away afterwards. And I'd have to set it up every single time I would podcast.
That's like a whole hour on top of the recording.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And then it's so different now looking at those videos and then now seeing that we're here in studio. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really have come a long way. Because I think I still feel a lot of the almost like podcast imposter syndrome. Every now and then I'm like, oh, am I a podcaster?
You've mentioned this before.
Yeah. But I'm like, I'm here. I'm with you. The lights are on us. The cameras are on us. We spent all the time setting up the lights. We're in the studio. It's won awards. It's 100 episodes. So I think that I'm always at that state of becoming. But I think that's something that I really learned about myself is I get so attached to the people that I interview. Like, I feel like I put a lot of time into researching everyone, and then I try really hard to make everyone feel really comfortable. I think it goes back to when I worked in public relations and I would set people up to be interviewed by journalists. A lot of people are super nervous, and a lot of my job back then was to help people to feel confident and comfortable doing those interviews. So I think that as an interviewer, I always want to make the guests feel like that, almost to the point where it's like too much, because then often I'll interview people, and especially if it's in person, we'll be like, let's keep hanging out. And even when I would do the interviews at home at my old setup, I would interview someone and then talk to them on Zoom for another hour after the show. And I've actually become so close with many guests, like really, really close with a lot of the guests.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I would be guests on other people's podcasts. And I was like, oh, I simply go in and I do the interview and then we wish each other a good day and that's it. I'm like, oh, not everybody is becoming best friends with their guests. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think that I learned that I put a lot of heart and care into the work that I do. Is it too much? I don't know. But it's leading to these really wonderful connections. So I'm not going to hold myself back from putting that much care into everything.
Yeah, and I don't think it's too much. I think that it comes across in your interviews that you actually care about the person that you're talking to, which is a special quality because you don't get that with every podcast. I think when it is kind of like, oh, I should have this person on because they have a huge social following and they'll help to boost my numbers, it's like, maybe, sure, but like, are you actually taking the time to get to know that person better through your interview? Like, what's the actual purpose of the interview beyond just like boosting your own numbers, right? Like, there's a lot of that happens in podcasting, and it's hard to know sometimes who is genuinely in it to like get to know about people. And I think it comes across when you listen to Happy to See Me that like you're excited to be talking to that person and it doesn't feel like a chore or something. So kudos.
Thank you. I mean, podcasting is a lot of work. I know we talked about it off the top, but it's one of those things where it's not rocket science, but it's more work than you think. Every now and then I'm like, okay, do I want to keep going? But I think that for a second, and then I'm like, obviously I'm going to keep going. And often after I do an interview or after I finish editing an episode and I publish it, I'm like, wow, that was a really good conversation. I feel like there's someone who's going to get something out of that. Like, I'm really proud to have worked on that. Like, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So anytime I have that little doubt over, you know, like all of the real world parasite stuff that gets us bogged down about podcasting, I'm like, no, I really do love being able to connect with people this way and being able to share it with people.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a really good way to make friends. Like, if you just like
So
don't want to
many.
go out and try to make friends on your own, just invite people onto your podcast and then you're going to get to know them like real quick.
Yeah.
And if you're nice to them, they might just hang out with you in real life.
Yeah, honestly, it's like I've gotten so much out of the guests, like friendships, close connections, work, all sorts of things. And I'm not intending to do that when I'm interviewing people.
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, who has something that I think is interesting to share, that I think could be really inspirational to someone, and who I think honestly could benefit themselves by being able to share something or get something off the chest or share a part of their journey that they think no one's interested in.
I also think, and it's something that we say a lot at Sonar, that if you are nice to people that is probably the best networking you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to just like show up at an event and shake hands and pass out business cards or whatever, try to meet people professionally that way. But actually, if you just like kind of open your heart to people and are nice to them and genuinely interested in them and like ask them about themselves and actually care about the answer, that will stand out in their minds, even subconsciously.
Yeah.
More than what you do, what you're good at, what they could, hire you for, whatever. It's like a powerful way that we have learned to network. And I think it's something that you are really good at specifically.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I always say when I speak to students, when I do my keynote speaking at schools and stuff, once I started working in quote unquote real adult jobs, I actually have never applied for a job. All the jobs I've ever gotten have come through referrals.
I believe that.
And I'm like, okay, I don't have business cards. Maybe I should get them at some point. But I'm like, I don't know. I go to events, I chat, I meet people. So yeah, I think for anybody, it's the relationship that matters more than all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's something that took me a long time to learn because like, I guess maybe I was shy or like, it's hard to put yourself out there. And it's also hard not to feel like everyone's judging you. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, if I'm going to be like bubbly and open and friendly, it's actually kind of a vulnerable way to exist. Like just being open and bubbly, which I guess I'm curious how you think about that because you are quite a bubbly person. Mm-hmm. You're like smiley and friendly and like, like I feel like it's a really positive energy that comes off of you. Do you feel like you have to push yourself to be that way? Does it come really, really naturally? Like, do you feel vulnerable when you are being bubbly? Do you even know what I mean by that?
No, I feel like this is just me existing. I feel like I've always been like this. And I didn't realize that was a thing. Like, I also remember going to school in elementary school and I would just say things and people would be laughing. I'm like, oh, I don't think I was trying to be funny, but I didn't realize that I had a dry sense of humor. I'm like, oh, I'm just stating the facts of what's happening. And after I'm like, oh, okay, people are into this. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is the way that naturally I've always been or always wanted to be. And I even think with the way that I dress, how there's so much, I don't know, there's like childlike wonder, I think, to the way that I dress, And I definitely had those years, especially in my 20s when I was working at quote unquote jobs where I was told the things like, you need to show your teeth, there needs to be more command, less exclamation points in emails, all of the stereotypical things that girls are taught or women are taught.
Stop apologizing,
dress in a way that commands respect.
Yeah.
And I tried all those things for a while. I would wear the blazer, I would show up to the meetings and speak in the way that I thought I was supposed to, but I always felt like I was just dressing up and playing this character rather than being myself. And I think that now that I've come on the other side of that and I've demonstrated that I can find success and I can build a life for myself and be me and show up wearing all of my pink and purple and hearts and rainbows and make silly jokes and make people giggle and I can still do it. I feel the most grounded in myself and the most free in myself that I felt for a while. But it was like I was like this when I was younger. And then the world gets to you and like puberty hits and then you go to high school and you go to university and you start working and feeling like I need to suppress myself and make myself smaller. And then now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, wait, this is how I've always been. And now I can just be like this and it's fine. And if someone doesn't like it, they're missing out. If you'd rather work with a miserable person, then that's cool. That's not me.
No, yeah. I guess what I mean is that the sort of bubbly, colorful personality, it doesn't come naturally to everyone. For some people, it can actually be really hard and feel like a very scary place to open yourself up to strangers in that way. So people like tend to close off and sort of, sometimes you meet someone and they'll be like, you'll be like, is that person like mad at me?
Yeah.
But they're not. They're just like protecting themselves in a way. So yeah, it's interesting that just like, you don't really have that. You just like feel comfortable in the friendliness, which is really sweet.
Don't get me wrong. I definitely had resting bitch face in high school.
Sure.
My friends would be like,
well, who didn't?
Yeah, people would be like, does Erika not like me? And my friends would be like, that's just the way her face is.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
No, I can definitely relate to that. I
think
still
that
have
maybe-
resting bitch face.
It could just be, I don't know. One, it could just be everyone's personality, right? Like for some people, the resting bitch face really suits them. And if that's who they are, own it. If that's you, and this is me, and that's fine.
That's great. That's a good lesson. I also was curious how you think about your listeners. I know that your listeners are obviously going to be all different kinds of people, but when you make an episode of Happy to See Me, do you have an image of a listener in mind, or almost like, what's the word, like a template of a listener? Is there a type of person that you feel you're speaking to?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now this is where I go into the marketing of it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, the market.
Who's your
avatar, my client avatar?
Yeah, your persona, your listener persona.
So I usually think about, I mean, it's a bit of everybody, but when I really think, it's like usually women, queer people, people of color. And then if I drill down further, I know that Filipino people and Asian people really relate to me. I know that people who might consider themselves to be quote unquote queer late bloomers might relate to me. I know that people who tend to be more introverted tend to relate to me. So I think about all of those people, and I think that when I put together episodes, usually I'm trying to appeal to somebody within that group, but I think at the very core of it, it's people who have felt underestimated or overlooked in some way, but they don't want to feel like that anymore. I think that's the main thing with the people listening. They're listening because they want to grow, they want to shine in their own way. They recognize the way that things are and the circumstances that they've been handed, and they're like, okay, cool. Now I can create something better for myself. And that's why it's important for me to share people who have been on a similar journey and they have come out on the other side of themselves and found it. So as much as I love thinking about those demographics from my previous marketing point of view, at the end of the day, I think anyone listening is someone who really, really wants to take control of their life and really be empowered and happy and feel seen for who they are.
Yeah. And I feel like you can see that. You can see that pattern with the guests that you pick for sure. And I think it's nice that you are almost like a role model to a lot of people.
That's weird. No, that's like humbling.
Is that weird?
But it's so sorry. It's not weird. I don't want to take that because I know if there are people looking up to me, I don't want to invalidate that. I think it's like surreal for me to think because, you know, I think I grew up feeling very different from everybody. Always felt like a bit odd, whether it was in school or in my family or in friend groups. And I think that as I've gotten older, I've gotten to really know myself and understand that it was never me that was odd. It was just maybe I wasn't in the right environment, or maybe it was just not the right time
it's
for
the rest
me.
of them.
Yeah. Well, yes. No. So I think that throughout my life, I was just like, okay, if I'm never going to fully fit in anywhere, I'm just going to carve my own path and be who I want to be and contribute to the world in the way that I want to and do things like my own way. And I always thought I was just without trying to be like a bit quirky and different. And I was fine with that. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to be in my bubble and keep going. So it is really surreal. And that's why I say like a little weird to me, not weird for the people, but to me that I'm like, oh, wait, people are into that? Yeah. I always thought I was just doing it on my own, but people are into that.
Don't you think often role models or like the best role models are people that are kind of going against the grain, or really the most inspiring people are the people that are so completely themselves?
Yeah.
I think
that people like the authenticity. And isn't it, if someone was doing everything right, we wouldn't know about them because they would just be in the crowd doing everything right.
Yeah.
It's like the people who are actually carving their own path or
being
doing their
bold.
own thing that we know about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I like that. I enjoy that. And honestly, if there's anyone listening and they look up to me, thank you.
Yeah.
I am far from perfect, but thank you.
I'll go into, like, I know that a lot of your fans and listeners are Asian women and people. This question comes from one of your fans. How does it feel growing up Asian in the West? And how do you deal with insecurities that come with that?
Ooh, so growing up, definitely insecurities. I think the best way to describe it is it's kind of like, especially being someone who grew up in an immigrant family in a mostly white city, it's kind of like you're not really sure where you fit in. So I think especially for me, coming from an Asian culture, which really celebrates people who are more reserved. They want people to, fall. Well, at least from what my parents wanted. They wanted me to just like listen to them and like never ask any questions and just be like docile. And then in North American culture, it's much more about boldness and assertiveness. So then I would go to school and I wouldn't be like bold or assertive enough. And then I would go home and then I would be too much. And then I was always just like, okay, then where am I supposed to feel like I'm okay? Where can I feel like I could just exist and it's fine? And I think that that's part of why I was like, okay, I just have to do things my own way and not quite fit in at either and be okay being in my own little world, and that's okay. So yeah, I think it was always this feeling of being pulled between the two. And then even when I would go through work and stuff and be frustrated when people are telling me that I need to be acting in a certain way or behaving in a certain way or dressing in a certain way, and not being able to really like talk to my family about it because they were like, oh, you should just like not take any risks at all and just take the safer route. And I'm like, okay, I don't really have anyone to confide in either, so I just have to figure it out. So
yeah,
at times it could feel really isolating, truthfully. And I think that that's why whenever I've had people of color and Asian people and Filipino people on the podcast, there's like the instant, okay, we understand and we get it. And I definitely had a lot of those insecurities growing up about not really sure how I should present myself, what I should do, who I should be friends with, how I should act. I think that now as I've gotten older and I realize that everyone is dealing with that in their own way, then I have a lot more self-compassion for myself. And I can look back at those times and I'm like, okay, I was dealing with all of these external factors. That's why I was trying my best and operating in that way. So I think I have a lot more self-compassion. But I think that now that I've gotten older, the insecurities have mostly gone away. Now I feel like my brain is a little broken where I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks of me. I can just keep going.
I wouldn't call that broken.
Oh, yeah, that's true. What would you call it?
Evolved.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I think part of the reason why I was so good at public relations is because when you work in public relations, you have to be able to communicate and anticipate all of the different ways that what you're saying can affect all the different groups and stakeholders. So how does it reflect on the employees, to shareholders, to the public, to this? And then I think that being somebody who never quite fit in anywhere, I always had to like recognize what everyone around me was thinking and feeling, and then kind of code switch and morph myself into who I had to be in that room. So it's almost like the toxic, maybe not toxic, but it's like all of the uncomfortable things that came from growing up influenced me in work and being able to morph and say whatever I needed to say to the people around me. And probably even on Survivor, it helped me a lot to be like, okay, I have to adjust to whoever is around me. And I'm happy that I have those skills. But I'm also happy that now I'm like, I'm not going to do that as much anymore. Now I'm older and I know myself, I'm not going to adjust so much.
Yeah, and I think that is a really relatable sort of trajectory. Like, I think a lot of people develop skills like that in their teens. Like, whether they're from a new place or like a move to a new place or not feeling like they don't fit in. I feel like that is just something we learn as adolescents to like protect ourselves. And that code switching happens whether you are from a different country, whether you grew up in Canada, whether you feel out of place or not. It's going to happen. And then as you grow up, I think you start to come into yourself a little more, or at least I hope that this happens for a lot of people.
I really hope you give yourself the space to do that, right?
Yeah, and I think even on small levels, some level of that does happen as you grow into adulthood, which is good. And it's good to recognize that that is happening, because then you can do more of it and like allow yourself the like permission to be more yourself and be less apologetic and less like, you know, afraid of everyone. Yeah. I think that's a really relatable story. So your fans have some really interesting questions, and I they have Survivor questions,
Yeah.
but I didn't want this interview to be really about Survivor because I feel like you've talked about it so much that like there's a million places that people can get answers about what you feel about Survivor.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get into those too much, but I am curious because I don't know if I don't, you probably have talked about this, but I'm not sure if I've seen you talk about how it feels coming home to Canada
Yeah.
as a winner of Survivor, like the Canadianness of it. Of course, you were also the first Filipina to win, and that's a whole thing. But do you feel like there is a difference being a Canadian on Survivor? Like, did you feel anything there?
Yeah. So I would say in the short term, so when I first came off the show, I filmed the show in 2021, so it was still COVID. So I think people didn't realize that a lot of the COVID rules in Canada were a lot different than the US. So all of my castmates could just go back home and basically live kind of normal. And I come back, I'm like, okay, I have to stay in the airport hotel for 2 days or no, I think it was like 3 or 4 days or something by myself and then go home. And then I had to quarantine for 14 days. So I'm like, okay, this big thing has happened. And I am just sitting at home and I can't really, and I just have to sit here and think about it. And then even when it came to being able to visit people and stuff, there were still all the regulations around COVID testing and crossing the border. And it was just like a lot of work to cross the border. So I didn't really go to the US that much.
When you say visiting people, like your
visiting other people from the show.
friends from Survivor.
Yeah. It was just like so much more effort for me to do that versus.
But like they could all hang
kinda
out.
Yeah. Yeah. So and there were definitely moments of feeling like the cultural differences, being the only person living in Canada being on the show. So I think I wasn't really as aware of them until I came home. I'm like, oh yeah, like it is really different being Canadian. And I even remember telling the psychologist from the show that it felt really different. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, I think like Canadians and Americans are like the same. I'm like, okay, no, that's like not the vibe at all.
Oh my God.
So in that way, I definitely felt almost like a little more disconnected from the experience.
Yeah.
Because like physically it was hard for me to go over there. And also I was in another country. It was truthfully really nice that it was as things were clearing up post-COVID that my season aired, because watching the show every week became almost like a way to reunite all my family and friends. And it gave everybody something to look forward to every week. And the parties would get bigger and bigger. And talking to a lot of my friends, they were like, even if you didn't win, you being on Survivor was like the highlight of my year, because I felt like I got to go out and see people and be in community. And I had something to be hopeful about, because I felt like we were so hopeless during COVID. So I'm so grateful about that experience of just coming off the show.
Yeah.
And I think that now that it's been 4 years since I've been on the show and being the first Canadian to win, it is really cool that people are still excited about it. I still have people multiple times a week who come up to me and recognize me from Survivor, and they tell me about the pride they feel in seeing a Canadian win, or, you know, if it's like a woman or a person of color, a Filipino person, like people still feel so much pride in my win. And I think that's really cool. I had been a Survivor fan since I was a kid, and I always, for decades, dreamed of what I would do when I played the game.
Yeah.
And I thought so much about that fixed time on the island, and I never thought at all about what would happen after, because I was so focused on that goal. I never imagined that years later, people would still be excited to meet me and excited to share how watching me on the show impacted them. And I think it's such a cool thing to be part of that pride and to really represent something for people.
Yeah.
And when I had Carlos on the show, Carlos Bustamante, I was asking him about how he was on YTV, and he still has people who talk to him about his time on YTV, which was like 15 years ago. And he was like, Erika, like, people are always going to recognize you from Survivor. They're always going to come up to you and talk to you about Survivor.
Well, it's a big deal here. We had the first Canadian to win U.S. Survivor, which is like the most Canadian thing in the world is comparing yourself to the U.S. and thinking that the U.S. is better. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are like, well, the U.S. Survivor is better.
Yeah.
It's just better. Yeah. So you won the better one.
Yeah. And there isn't like, even a Canadian one.
Yeah. I know. I mean, like in terms of reality TV shows, it's
and it
always
was like the big
better.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that is like where I think a lot of that pride comes from, is being like, well, the US does it better than we ever could. So you like really hit the big top of the pyramid.
And I think it helped that I was just, this little thing that did it in my own way that was nice to everyone. I think that people were also like, yes, Canadians, nice, winning against the odds.
Right, yeah. And this actually leads me to another question from your fan, because you were talking about being in the public eye and like having people come up and recognize you. One of your fans asked, if I see you on the streets of Toronto, would it be weird if I fanboy and ask for a high five?
Oh my gosh, okay, not weird. My only request is you ask. Because
don't just high five me.
Yeah. Like, people come up to me, I'd say 95% of the people are super sweet, super nice. They come up, say hi, tell me a little bit about watching me on Survivor, wish me a good day, and they're awesome. Sometimes it gets a bit weird when people just come up and touch me because they think that they know me. So if you want the high five, please ask. Don't just like come up and like high five me. But yeah, if you ask, I'm down. And that's not weird.
Well, a high five is a really good one too, because you actually can't high five someone unless they're high fiving you back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's built-in consent to the high five.
Yes, exactly. It's not like a hug where you could just like grab someone. This is actually like, if I put my hand up and you put your hand up, we're speaking a language that we both understand.
Yeah.
So I think a high five is I think the
high five is great.
It's perfect.
Yeah. High fives, yes. And if you see anyone on the street you recognize, always ask them before you touch them.
Oh my God, please, for the love of God. Shall we play a little, almost like a lightning round?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it doesn't have to be super, super fast lightning round. So one thing about us, you and me, is that we have a lot in common.
We do, yeah.
It's a really funny coincidence. We're both like short.
Yeah.
That's one thing we have in common. We also both just have had similar experiences in life.
And we also both get stuff done.
I think we both get stuff done.
Yeah.
And we have had like similar experiences in life. And I won't get into them. They're like maybe personal experiences, but we've connected over, we've bonded over certain things that have happened to us in our lives. And sometimes you'll bring up something and I'm like, wait, I had that too. I'm like, wait, there's more? So that's a really fun thing that's been developing. And I was thinking I could list different things that I love and see if you love them too.
Yes. Okay. That's fun.
Okay. I don't have a ton, but I'm going to read them and we can discuss each one if you want, or if there's something that you just really love or really hate, you can tell me about why.
Oh my gosh, I hope I like your things.
I know. It's going to be really sad if you don't like anything else that I like. And we're like, well, that was it. We found them all. Okay. I'm going to name a thing I love and you tell me if you love it too. Discovering new bands.
Yes, I love it.
You do?
How do you not love discovering new bands,
Some people don't care that much.
Where do you discover new bands?
I'm really sorry to say that these days it's Spotify. I mean, I almost feel guilty saying that because, like, I wish that I still discovered new bands the old school way, which was, like, through friends, through, like, going to a record shop, through, but Spotify's just taken over the world. So that's where we are.
I used to love, did you ever get into the hype machine back in the 2000s?
No.
Oh my gosh. The hype machine would aggregate songs that were featured in blogs. And then you could kind of create your own, you could like hard everything on the hype machine. And then they would create these charts of the most reblogged songs. So I found that was where I really found the cool new stuff.
Nice.
But then I don't know if it's around anymore. And like, as you said, it's all on Spotify. So I rely on, like the New Music Fridays, like all of those playlists that they create for us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, am I ever just discovering it or are they just serving it to me and I'm taking it?
Well, that's the thing too, is like, I don't know how much I trust. The Discover Weekly has given me some gems, I will say. And I do listen to it every week. But also sometimes, like I think a few weeks ago, Discover Weekly gave me Jammin' by Bob Marley. And I was like, do you think I've never heard this song?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just discovering this for the first time. Like, it's good, and it's given me like Harvest Moon by Neil Young. And I'm just like, some of this is like not discovery. But
it's like, who do you think I am?
Yeah. Anyway, but what I used to do is there was this program, and this is deep cuts, but there was this program called Soul Seek.
Mm-hmm.
It was a music sharing program. So like back when computers and internet were like the cool new thing that like teenagers were on, there was you could file share. So you would download music and like organize it all perfectly in your computer, and then you could share all of your files with someone else, and they could just come in and look at them and download whatever they want from you. So it was like this really fun like P2P like file sharing. And there were chat rooms in there where you could talk about music. And some of the chat rooms were absolutely insane. Like, truly the most insane people in the world were on these chat rooms. Horrible, horrible people. But some people were really sweet, really nice. And I was in there talking about, like, indie music and whatever. And we broke off and had our own little group chat. And some of those people are still some of my best friends.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It's wild. Like, music sort of weirdly bringing us together over, like, the internet. In a dangerous way that I would never recommend for anyone, any young, impressionable woman.
It worked at the time. You came out on the other side of it okay. But...
Yeah, with friends who are nice, normal people.
Yeah.
But there were some dark moments out there. But anyway, next thing is comedy. Going to watch comedy.
Yeah, I like to watch comedy. I used to not like comedy. I actually famously hated stand-up. Like, whenever my friends would invite me to stand up, I was like, it's just some guy talking. I don't need to go see it. But now I appreciate comedy more. Like, I've taken so many comedy classes. You know, I've taken clown class. I've taken stand up. Even I've taken all the classes. And I appreciate it a lot more. Actually, I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast, but as a lot of listeners know, I quit my job before I filmed Survivor. And I think the preconception is that people think I quit to film Survivor. But the truth is I was ready to go. I was ready to get out of here. And it just worked out that the timing of me getting on Survivor happened. But during COVID, I had finally taken all of these online courses. So I took improv, I took sketch writing, I took late night TV, joke writing. And these were things that I always was interested in trying, but I could never do because I was so busy. And then now I'm at home. And I remember when I took sketch writing class, I had a moment that made me realize, oh my gosh, the stories I want to tell actually mean something and could do something.
Wow.
So we had an exercise where the instructor had everyone in class say random relationships that people could have. So, you know, like siblings, teacher, student, whatever. And then they would also say different activities people could be doing. And then the instructor randomly put together activity and relationship and then assigned everybody one of those and then told us that we had to write that sketch and then bring it to class the next week. And he was like, don't overthink it. Write about something that's familiar to you. So I was assigned father-daughter and raking leaves.
Okay.
And also I have 2 brothers, so I rarely had to do the outside stuff. I've actually never mowed a lawn. So I was like, I don't know. I've never like had to rake leaves like for real before. But I'm like, okay, let me write it from my point of view. And nothing in this story is real, by the way. I was like, let me just write it. So I wrote it about this immigrant dad and his teenage daughter, and they're raking leaves, and she's sassing him and giving him attitude because he makes her rake the leaves every year and she just wants to go hang out with the friends. But the dad is like, no, we must rake the leaves every year. And there's jokes with them making fun of each other. And it's over Zoom. So I'm just, as we're reading the sketch out loud, I'm watching everybody laughing. And there's just a pivot where you realize the dad tells the daughter, the reason we have to rake the leaves together every year is because when I first moved to Canada and I saw the leaves turned red, it confirmed to me that I did what I had to do to give my family a better life. So when we rake the leaves together, it means a lot to me because it shows that we made it. And then everybody in the class is crying.
I'm about to cry.
Yeah, I'm like crying. And this is not a real story. Everyone in the class is crying. And then the sketch goes back to jokes. And then the instructor said, did you see the way that the energy changed?
Yeah.
Where you had everybody lively and happy, and then you had everybody wiping away tears. And he's like, that's the power of storytelling. And you can get to that in comedy. And I think after that, that's when I realized, okay, all of these stories that I told for corporations to grow the bottom line, I could actually take those skills and I could do something that could be more meaningful for people. And I think that comedy class was a real turning point for me and set me on the course that I'm on now. So I love comedy, like I do now, into comedy.
That's beautiful.
into comedy. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's a great way to get into comedy.
Right? I always have that sketch. It's somewhere on my computer. I'm like, one day maybe I should make this a thing. You know,
I
maybe
love
one
it.
day
Make
I
it
should
part of your
record it.
one-woman show.
Oh my gosh. But I would need, if I'm both the dad and the... Not the worst idea, Marianna.
I'm just picturing you running back and forth on stage with like a little fake mustache that you'd put on to be the dad.
Like each half of my body is a different costume. Just wait till they hug at the end.
That's a great idea. Okay, this is $1 million idea. Yoga.
Ooh, I'm into yoga. I started doing yoga during the pandemic. But I don't think I'm particularly good, but I do it.
Well, what is good in yoga?
I've never gone to a class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've never done like hot yoga?
No.
I've been getting into hot yoga lately.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot. Like
really, hot?
It's truly, they're not lying when they say it's hot.
But how are you hydrated?
Oh, you better be.
By the end, are you just gasping for
Oh,
water?
I would hope not. No,
Okay.
you need to have water beside you. Like you definitely should be bringing a big thing of water in with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you are doing it wrong because you are drenched in sweat. Like it's like falling off your body.
I would try it.
It's nice because it's not for everybody. Like some people hate it because it does feel overwhelming, maybe the heat for some people. But for me, it's nice because your muscles really do warm up instantly. So you can stretch a lot deeper and longer than you normally might without the heat because the heat really like gets into your muscles.
I want to try. I've always wanted to try it because I feel like I'd like the intensity.
Yeah, it's nice.
For my first yoga class, it shouldn't be hot yoga, right? I
Maybe
should
not.
Probably
Maybe you
do
should
a
ease
regular
into
one.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Walking around at an art gallery.
I like going to an art gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like visual arts. You're a very visual person, I feel. You have like, you know, like you love bright colors and pretty things.
Yeah, I
So that
like
makes
making
sense.
things look good.
Mm-hmm.
I used to not appreciate galleries and museums that much, but I think now as I'm getting older and I'm maturing, I'm like, wow, someone put a lot of work into this. There's a message. It makes me feel something. So I think now I'm into it for sure over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I love that too. Pedicures.
Yes, although I haven't gone in a while.
Pedicures are great. One of
Yeah.
my favorite things to
I
do.
used to always, like I had shellac on my nails for a solid
On
10
your toenails?
years. Not on my toenails.
Oh.
But I would get a shellac manicure and a pedicure every month for like a decade.
Wow.
And then I think last year I was like, you know what? No, you know what it was? Sally Henson found out that I wore Sally Henson nail polish on Survivor and it actually lasted the full time. Like it wasn't full manicure, but by the end you could still see there was nail polish on my nail. And they thought it was so cool. So they sent me so much nail polish.
Wow.
Like, so much. So then after that, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't go get my nails done because I have so much nail polish. So I haven't got my nails done in a while.
Wow. Oh my God. I got to get on TV, man.
Yeah.
Growing vegetables or gardening.
Ooh, so my parents super into gardening. Like it's a big horticulture family I grew up in. I think I'm more of a houseplants. You know what it is? I love orchids. I have 10 orchids that rebloom every year.
Right. Wow.
Yes.
God, I have 3 orchids at home that haven't given me flowers in like, I don't know, 2-3 years.
Oh
Like,
my God, we
they
can
just
talk
don't.
about it.
Thank you.
What
please.
do you do to them?
Nothing.
You don't do the ice cube, right?
I water them like very lightly, but like not often.
Okay, so here's the secret. Number 1, the ice cube thing is bullshit. Don't put ice cubes on your orchids because orchids are from like humid tropical places. So the ice cube is shocking to them.
They don't like the cold.
They don't like the cold. So what you're supposed to do is actually soak them for 30 minutes, either every 2 weeks or when because you know when you can pull the orchid out of the pot, you can see in the clear pot. So it's either every 2 weeks or when the roots turn silver. So I just pour water into the pot and just set a timer and just let them sit for 30 minutes. And then pour the water out after the 30 minutes.
I bought sphagnum moss. Do you know that stuff? It's like this moss.
Wait, oh yeah.
It's like orchid moss or like succulents like it too. It holds water. Mm-hmm. Maybe not succulents like it, but certain flowers like it. It holds water, but it's not soil. And so my orchids are not sitting in any bark or soil or anything. They're actually sitting in this moss. Mm-hmm. And I just put some water on that, and then it just kind of sits like that, and I guess it slowly dries up, but it holds water for a little longer.
whenever I get an orchid and there's the decorative moss on the top, I take it out right away.
Oh, really? Mine are like sitting in that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Try the bark.
Maybe I need to get
think the bark is the best.
Okay. Making notes here. Get the bark. Okay. Listening to music while you work.
Yeah. But lately it's been lo-fi because I get too distracted. Like if like music is playing, I'm the type of person when I'm in public, I like bop my head around. I will mouth the words. So I feel when I work, it has to be instrumental. So I have no distractions.
Speaking of Spotify, I just get like an energizing focus mix. I think it's literally, that's what it's called. And I think it's like curated for you or whatever. And it's perfect. I use it every single day. And it's repetitive. It's the same like 20 songs over and over, but I don't care. It's like it does something to my brain that is like, okay, you're working now. It's amazing. Okay, my last one is making fun salads.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not a big cook. I don't know if you're a big cook.
I'm not a big cook.
So I will just
but I am a big salad guy.
Yeah, I think I veer towards salads and just bowls. So my thing is I will prepare different proteins, different grains, whatever vegetables, different leafy greens, and I just throw them in a bowl. Make one of 2 dressings that I learned to make like 10 years ago, and that's me on a usual night. Yeah, just throw everything in there.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
I'll like raisins, seeds, sesame oil in the dressing, whatever, man. I don't know. Just go nuts. Just whatever you got, put it in a bowl. And I love that.
Like I don't love cooking, but I do love salad spinning.
Oh yeah,
it's very satisfying.
Me too. The pushing. Do you have one of those
the
push
down
things?
One.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
And then I got a nice bottle for my dressing. That's the thing. I don't cook a lot. I have like literally 1 pan. I have 1 small pot and 1 big pot, and that's it. Like I'm so low maintenance in the kitchen, but for salads, I have all of the nice things.
Accoutrements. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. Cool. Well, we're both salad girlies.
I love it.
Yeah.
Marianna, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for answering all of my very important questions.
And thank you for everything that you've done and Michael, who also runs the Sonar Network, have done to support this podcast and help me to get to episode 100.
Of course. Yeah. Anytime. We're always here.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. And I need to make a fan shout out. I can't believe I've never shouted out this person before. But whenever I upload a video to YouTube, within the first hours of it being uploaded, I always get a comment from a fan, and they always send me 2 emojis that have to do with the episode.
Aww.
So I have to shout out Masego to Flower, because literally for years, Masego, I don't know, Masego, I'm going to say they, I don't know who Masego is in person, but every time I upload an episode, I always get the email that there's a comment, and I'm like, I can't wait to see which emojis they have chosen.
That is so sweet.
So thank you so much for always tuning in and for sending your emojis. I see them. Trust me, I see them.
That's really sweet. I love that. Your fans love you.
Thank you. I do appreciate them. I want to come up with a name for them.
I was just going to ask you if you have a name for them.
Sometimes I think of them as their own little shining stars. So I'm like, maybe I'll start calling them that. Let me know in the comments if that's what you want to be called.
Oh, well, thank you for having me and for just bringing like such a positive, bubbly, beautiful vibe to the network, but also the studio. Every time we get to record with you, it's like watching a lovely, lovely conversation between 2 wonderful people. Your guests are also amazing. And I'm just very proud to have you on the network and very grateful.
Thank you so much. Shall we do this again at 200?
Yeah, I'll see you at episode 200.
Okay, we'll see how long that one takes. Thank you so much, Marianna.
No worries.
And thank you, everybody, for spending a bit of time with us this week. And I will be happy to see you next Monday.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.